Welcome everybody to Learn with Lowell. Today we're joined with Anya. Anya, would you like to start by just introducing yourself to our audience today?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Anya Cheng, founder and CEO of Taelor. Taelor is an AI stylist. We use AI to pick clothes for guy, and we send you real clothes for you to wear for a couple weeks. Once you are done, return the dirty clothes you get next shipment. No more shopping or laundry. Before starting the company, Taelor, I had 15 years in big tech companies before, most recent at Meta, where I helped build out Facebook, Instagram shopping. I was a head of product at eBay, helped lead their new business in US and also new market in Latin America, Africa, and Asia. Was a senior director at McDonald's, helped them to build out food delivery business when Uber Eats just started, and helped Target to build its Silicon Valley tech office. I started my career as a marketer, as a data scientist, and worked my way up. Now leading large engineering technology teams. So I'm excited to share more about Taylor and more today.
Yeah, it's awesome. So I love the idea behind Taelor because as a guy, I never know what to wear. Like growing up, I had like holes in my shoes and stuff like that. So I just kind of like grabbed what was good. And so like this idea that like you never know what feels right until you try it for a while. So like that like, makes so much sense to me. Um, looking at your experience and your background, and I always think of decisions when it comes to building a startup as a series of hypotheses you test. Like this is what I think the customer's going to be. This is what I think product market fit might look like, but the product needs to be MVPs and stuff like that. And so I have like this new concept that I've stolen from presidents of the United States, where it's like they're judged on the first 100 days. And so I'm curious, when you first started Taelor, what were the first 100 days like? What were some of the hypotheses that you were testing or thinking about?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I am also a marketing faculty and product management faculty. So in product, we call it minimum viable product.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really important to validate your hypothesis. For example, when Rent the Runway started, their hypothesis is people rent dress. So instead of buying plenty of dresses, startup apps or hire AI engineers who were getting cut deal with 100 brands, what they do is that they send out an email. They screenshot some dresses from department stores website, and then they send the email to a group of students who are going party. They ask them,
Mm-hmm.
would you like to rent those dresses? Because in reality, if no one want to rent dress, then there's no business. There's no
Mm-hmm.
point to build any apps or buy any clothes. So they did verify the hypothesis. And just like the Zappos, when they start selling shoes online, the hypothesis is people buy shoes online, right? So
Mm-hmm.
instead of buying shoes or having a store, after they get the deals, they go to department store and buy the shoes and then ship it to a customer. But these allow them to validate the hypothesis. So when they Taylor started, we do the same thing. We start landing page, and I remember there was right before Christmas time. And we started landing page to allow people to waitlist themselves. And one day I got a phone call from a guy called Michael. And I got an email first, and he said, "Hey, can you please bump me up to the wait list?" We were just not ready to start a business, but the guy thought we were so many people on the wait list, so we have been keeping him waiting. So he said, "Hey, can you please bump me up to a wait list?" I thought he's a scam because who would want a small business like this? I would just start with nobody. So I didn't respond to him. And a few weeks after, right before Christmas, he called me. Somehow he got my phone number because he connected me on LinkedIn, and I
Mm-hmm.
accepted without even realize it. And he found my phone number there. He said, "Hi, I'm Michael. I'm a real estate in San Diego. And can you please bump me back to your wait list?" And we realized that, oh, there's a real customer. So then my co-founder went to a department store. It was right after Thanksgiving, lots of stuff on sale. So we bought some stuff, we put it into a box, ship it from the USPS, and he became our first customers.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a model that I think a lot of startups um, don't consider. Like, this kind of like almost like a white glove first version of your product. Like you don't need to build like this whole system. The website, the automation of the warehousing, all these different things that you could have done before you had your first customer. Like you kind of have like this white label service where a guy was like, "Hey, I have this need," and you like physically manually went and got it and delivered it to him. Kind of what I think Amazon did the same thing too. Like Zappos, like Amazon, they would just like grab books from a store and then ship it to people. So there's like a very minimal way of building things. Like it's like very like no code almost.
Yeah, people tend to confuse. They thought minimal viable product means very small, but in fact, it's not. The minimal viable product means it's most minimal viable product that verify your hypothesis. So
It's good.
depends on what your hypothesis is. In the
Yeah.
rent a runway case was just people rent dress, or in Amazon Echo was people do talk to machine, right? So before they hire 100 AI engineer, if people don't talk to machine, then and the Alexa doesn't work. So there were real people behind the thing say, hey, Alexa, play music. The real person actually play the music, because if people don't talk to machine, there's no point to build a machine and a feature.
So after Michael, you set them out some stuff, some clothes. What happened after that? Like, what was your next hypothesis, or what was your next thing that you wanted to test out or validate?
Yeah, so after people signed up for the service, we have our the quiz, right? So people fill out a quiz, then
Hmm.
they can tell us about more about themselves, what they are looking for. People tend to thought they are taller and thinner, so when we did ask people height and weight, but people tend to don't remember their size. So we also ask them to go pick their favorite clothes from their closet and then really look at what is size. And people tend to say, I'm size medium, and then go pick, this is my favorite clothes. Oh, wow, it's extra large. So we tend to ask them what brand you wear, and then what's the size you have. And then we ask some other question like your locations and your occupation, and upload a picture, which our AI do the thing. And we got a lot of unique data from there. So then we feed those data into our AI. For example, because it's rental subscription, so people after they send back, after they wear, they buy what they love, they send back the dirty clothes, and then they get next shipment. So people tend
Okay.
to give us feedback right away, which
Hmm.
is a lot of e-commerce. My time at Target, Sears, Kmart, we really get feedback frequently, and definitely no feedback of after people wearing for a while.
Hmm.
People also, when they were with we also have human stylists more of serving as a customer service. So when they work with stylists to get the item, it tend to be not influenced by the purchase price, right?
Right.
Like how you decide what to watch on Netflix. It's not because the show is on discount. It's because you do like it, because you already
Hmm.
pay a monthly fee. So we get those unique feedback from the customer. We also know the true quality after washes, because it's rental. So we do wash it and send to other people. So we do know the true quality, and we combine all of those data together into our AI. And the era of AI is all about unique data. So
Hmm.
this allows us to get unique data so that we can easily put on top of large language model like OpenAI or Google's AI, and then become
Hmm.
our unique AI model.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I'm thinking when it comes to targeting. So one of the things that when you have, the United States, I imagine is your first like go to market channel. Like you want to like focus on the U.S., right? So
Yeah, we are serving US nationwide from size small to extra extra large in every state in the US.
yes. So then when within there, when you think about lean marketing, which I know you're a big fan of, like how do you target what to target in the United States? When I think if anyone from the EU is listening, the US is like from England to like Moscow in terms of size, and I think that most people don't realize this. So it's a really really big place. So how do you know where to target and what to target?
Yeah, I don't know. But it
Mhm.
start with we see see organic people sign up, and we interview everybody. And over
Okay.
time, I know. So today our customers are people who are doesn't have specific age or location. Our youngest customer is 16, our oldest customer is 85, and pretty
Okay.
much in every state. However, what we found was our customers are very, very have specific lifestyle. They are all socially active. They are single guy, they are sales guy, they are executive, pastors, recruiter, lawyer, accountant. They are white collar guy who are busy. They are
Mhm.
ambitious. They have goal. They want to get a job, get a day, close a deal. They want to be more successful, but they don't read GQ. They are not interested in learning about fashion. For them, looking good is just a mean to the purpose they want to achieve, not because they love fashion. And that's also why we offer AI stylists combined with human stylists to pick clothes for them. This is also why we help people to rent clothes instead of they have to buy right away. Because if you have to buy right away, you have to think, right? You have to research, you have to figure out how many times you can wear this thing, you can have to think about this thing, you have to remember when to return, otherwise you will miss the return window. It's rental. So
Mhm.
someone style you, go wear for a couple of weeks. Your friends say looks great. What you buy, it's pre-owned item. It's up to 70% off retailer. So there's no brainer. It's no brainer to buy them. So this is how we found out that what we are really selling is not clothes. It's actually the convenience, the concierge service, the executive assistant for people.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You mentioned interview. You interviewed everyone who came in like inbound. The inbound is a bit of an art in of itself. There's books called like the mom test. I don't know if you read it.
Yep.
About just like how to structure that type of process. Could you walk me through if someone was sitting down, they filled up your wait list and they were like, hey, this is interesting to me. How would you interview them to then like get all this really rich information from them?
Yeah, I think it's it depends on what the interview is for. Like if it's more of a concept interview, like I'm not sure about this idea yet, then you want to be open-ended. Then you also don't want to lead in questions, right? So for example, when Airbnb just started and you are trying to imagine you are the founder of Airbnb, you try to validate if the idea of Airbnb is good. Then you may ask people, you don't want to ask people, would you like to save money? No, you might want to ask people, what do you consider when you are going on a vacation and figure out where to stay? Or you don't want to ask people like, hey, will you sleep with us in stranger's house, right? It's not yes or no question. You want to ask like, hey, what was the last time when you tell me more about your last time's journey? How have you figured out, how would you use to try to find a way to figure out where would you stay? What are the area or criteria you consider? So it's a little bit like dating. If you say I love you, then or I like you, then it's very different than you didn't say it, right? So you don't want to say your idea out loud, and you want to make sure you are getting as much information as possible. However, if you are already more in the user testing survey, like, hey, I'm user testing something, this is our feature, this is our idea, then yes, we are thinking to offer something for customer. For example, before we have AI stylists behind the theme for our stylists as a tool, and now we offer the AI stylist for customer to interact with. You can upload your pictures and which one should I wear? I'm going on the vacation in Hawaii next week, right? So before we do so, we ask people, hey, we have these few feature idea. Which one you think will be most needed, or do you have other needed that you have in mind? So it depends on what's really your research, but in general, giving a private place is good. Like when I was in eBay, we did a research in Mexico, and it's one-sided mirror, which seems very private, to the level the person who were interviewed asked the host, say, hey, do you have time tonight? She totally forgot there were 10 people outside watching them. And so they asked, what's your phone number? Do you have the time tonight? So usually a more private place make people feel a little bit more not being like quizzed.
Yeah, that makes sense. The one process that I've enjoyed as I do customer discovery is I will have I ask them the questions depending on what stage we're at, and then one thing I do it depends on like if it's B2C, B2B and stuff like that, but I will either like draw it out by hand or I'll draw like a Figma version of it, because one thing that I found is that when people describe like roughly when people approximate what they're looking to have solved their problem or whatever, and I can think of a way to solve it, there is an element of like, will they enjoy the way that I've decided to solve it? So like if I can like UI it to some extent and then like re-engage them, I can get a much tighter feedback loop of versus like just assuming that I am going to be able to create the feature in the way that they'll most enjoy it. So like another validation stage, I think another validation stage, even when you have like an idea for a feature.
Yeah, and I think it's extremely important to know, keep in mind your value prop and the problem you are solving. Like when I was at Target, for example, they were thinking, hey, moms, when they go to store, and sometimes they forgot one thing. So my colleagues' team, they decide to build a feature that there's app that you can put into what you want to buy when you are in the supermarket. When you go to Target, the app become in-store GPS. You can turn right, turn left, and you will never forget about one item. Sounds amazing, right? But they launch a feature, no one use it. Why? Because mom, why do they go to the store? They are there to get away from the lousy kids, right? They want to get away from the noisy home, and they want to get away. They want to walk around in the store. They don't want the in-store GPS. And those moms have been in the store for 10 years. They don't need
Yeah.
an in-store GPS. They know where is what, more familiar than probably more than the cashiers there. So yes, they might still forget one thing, but they give an excuse to go back to a store again. Oh, I forgot the milk. I have to go back. Right. So yes, you might solve a problem, but you are taking away the value prop. So it's always important to think about who is your audience and what real problem they want to solve.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. The in terms of product market fit, which I think is for many people a buzzword, and I think of it, kind of like a bullseye system for like darts or arrows, where it's like there's the red in the middle. There's layers to it. How do you know when you're getting closer to achieving it? And then for someone who's out there either in the early stages or maybe like iterating through some of the things we're talking about today, like how do they know when they're getting closer to it?
Close to the product market fits?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think if you ask the questions, then you don't have product market fit. So when people have product market fit, you pretty much cannot stop like the service. You are got
Mm-hmm.
overwhelming customers, just like when Facebook launch or OpenAI launch, you just overwhelming the clubhouse, you just overwhelming amount of customer. So when you have it, you know it. When you are not sure if you have it, then you don't have it. So I think so. What's important is to many times you get product market fit on not just one, like not everything on one thing. For example, there were fitness related apps, and they thought they would be perfect for people who want to be healthier, but then quickly they discover the people who really need it most were people who are heavily have really serious issues in walking. So because
Mm-hmm.
that the pain point is a lot more severe, I think many times you will discover that your original intent of audience, maybe only small segments are most most pain point for the product that you are selling. And you might also find out that your product market fit could be two side, like just like for Instagram, like they don't make money from audience, but they make money from advertisers, right? So they get product market fit for the customers, but then they have to find monetization ways over time. They have to find a product market fit on the advertiser as well.
Mm-hmm.
So there may be multiple layer for that. But in general, figure out who is really using your customer, who stay, and the cohort analysis, who stay longest, but also who has best fit in terms of willingness to share. Like, so the cohort analysis, a simple way to do is you think of these months. Okay, you get 10 customer. So every month you track for the 10 customer. The first month they pay you $1 each, you get $10. Next month you lose one person, you only get $9 each, and then each of them have also still pay $1. But then say the month 3, you only have 8 of them left, but then a few of them actually pay $3. Now
Mm-hmm.
you start knowing that some customer actually more loyal and actually more valuable than just loyal. And then you start tracking them month over month. And then you also track how would you get those customers. Okay, this month we got these 3 customers from Lowell's podcast. Next month we got it from Anya's podcast, right? So you start tracking what's the best way to attract people and what's the best way to attract those people who stay long and spend most money with you. And you interview them, figure out why are they staying longer than others. Like in our business, people stay because they are not fashion forward. They want to save time. Number one
Mm-hmm.
feedback from our customer is, can you sell me shoes, accessories? Or I love these clothes. When I buy, can I buy 2 different color? Can I also buy similar style? So what we
Mm-hmm.
found was our customer really needed for additional category and additional item in order to maximize the value because they treat us more like one-stop shop.
That's interesting. The feeling of it. I really love the binary that you made it in the beginning, where when you feel it, because people will like kind of come your way in a big way, and then you can refine it and see who your super fans are. When someone is early and they have an idea and they're testing out, they're validating it. How do you like combat like sunk cost fallacy, like where like some people just keep going even when but there's an element of there's like that little chart, like the valley of death of ideas, where like you're just like trudging through it, and then like if you would have kept going a little bit more, maybe it would have been successful, maybe it wouldn't have. Like how do you know you're not suffering from sunk cost fallacy, or just in like this valley of death that you need to like trudge through to then
Then
get
that's the
get to
hypothesis, right? So
yeah,
in order
okay.
to get there, I need to validate A and B and C. For
Mhm.
example, when we started, we were thinking, okay, we are for people who are wanting to look great. But in fact, what we found over time was, hey, people who mostly stay are people who are socially active, pastor, professor, recruiter, executive, right? And we also found that we thought people were really into, for example, on the supplier side, we thought they were really into, we can monetize their unsold inventory, right? So fashion today is one of the most polluted industry in the world. 10% of carbon emission from fast fashion, 30% of factory clothes go directly from to landfill. It's super wasteful. So we thought that they would love to just monetizing those overstock items. But in
Mhm.
fact, what we found was that they do care about that, but care even more for data. They ask us,
Mhm.
hey, I'm Italian brands. It's my first time into the US market. What do people like about my product? What do people dislike about my product? What's my positioning different from the competitors over there? What are other people looking for in the US that they don't find in my product, right? These insights become extremely valuable to them, which at the beginning we thought they just care about monetize unsold inventory, but end up we find that it's actually a data business, and the data is their unique insight that allow them to stop producing junk so then they can help to improve their next collection and also help reduce waste for the world. So
Yeah.
you may not you have to kind of get in the milestone, and then but then you might have to also listing some hypothesis you have. Oh, I'm assuming they only want the monetizing their product. No, actually, I found out no, they value something else more. Or for example, today, what we have found was a lot of our suppliers, they don't want to be just our supplier. They were curious. Wow, Anya, Taylor's, your AI is so cool. Your website's content actually generated by AI, but also very accurate. How would you do that? Oh, this model is really interesting. People don't need to do shopping anymore. But are you coming to Italy? Can you offer this in Italy or in Japan?
Mm.
And we say we don't. So then they say, oh, but then you have a technology. I have inventory. I know my market. I know the consumer here. Can I license your technology and run in my own country? Right. So
Mhm.
we start over time realize that wow, there's actually, in order to have great customers, a lot of happy customer, I need great supplier. In order to have a great supplier, we need to be their strategic partner, not just treating them like supplier. So then this means that I can monetizing my data, monetizing my technology. Also, I get amazing inventory that keep my customer happy. They can see amazing thing, the most unique thing from all over the world.
That's fascinating. That's really comprehensive. Like your vision for I've only maybe it's more entrepreneurs like yourself. Usually people just like, oh, I'm focusing on the customer. They don't think it's their suppliers as an opportunity for another vertical. So it sounds like you have like a B2C element with customers, like people like myself coming in using your service. Then you have like a B2B element where like you can work with these suppliers to improve their offering, which also improves the B2C elements at the same time. Like it's like the right hand is helping the left hand like build something. Like it's really fascinating.
Yeah, it's always people tend to forget this marketplace, right? Think of even your Instagram, you have your advertiser, you have the influencer, and you have the publisher, you have the audience, you have also people who buy. So many times most of product have an ecosystem. It's not just
Mhm.
one side. So it's important to remember how would you make the ecosystem robust by having both side or multiple side helping each others, right? So in our case, a lot of customers in the US, they only know 5 brands. They wear Nike and Uniqlo, Lululemon, and Banana Republic. That's it, right? So they are also curious about, hey, can I get the most interesting brands from Italy and Japan and Turkey and Russia and different part of the world, Indonesia. So these allow them to discover. But on the other side, then I help the brands to get the unique data so then
Mhm.
they can do better and better. So many times the most robust business, I think, is more of the model that you help to form the ecosystem. So then instead of just only a small data, like small dot point, like small points among the ecosystem.
Mhm. How did so like that's really fascinating. I'm like really new as like a experiencing this concept for the first time, just hearing it from you, which is really fascinating. The how did you go if the biggest thing that I always wonder, and I think it's like one of the underlying thesis of Learn Full, is like you never know what you're gonna learn today. And so how do you go around the world and find these other brands? You know, because I'm sure in Italy maybe there's like three great brands or like four hidden brands. Like there's all these different people and clothing that you could like pull from. But like I feel like there's like a search qualifier issue there in terms of like how do you find them? How do you find like these great partners to work with?
Yeah. So of course, some traditional way of going to trade shows and people reach out
Okay.
directly because we are number one on GQ and Vogue and Bloomberg, and People Magazine. So many of them see our news as best subscription boxes for men for rental in the US, and they found us. However, we also network a bit. And so, for example, I participate in Chamber of Commerce, I'm in BNIs, and so people refer. And many times it's our customer told us, instead of very different from traditional e-commerce, which we get the clothes and then hoping people will buy. Like my old job at Target or eBay's and Sears and Kmart. In fact, in our model is member, right? So we already know who is our audience. So
Mhm.
we source for our audience. Lowell really like this type of brand and clothes, and because he go on podcast. So let's see what kind of clothes will be perfect for him to go on podcast, right? So then, and we go search for those brands and emerging brands, and we partner with schools, etc. But most important is that we have a criteria so that it helps us to really focus. So, for example, our criteria, it has to be high quality. So we are promote sustainability. We are also rental model. So if it's low quality, then it's conflict with our mission, but also it doesn't make money for us for the audience for the supplier because can only rent a few times. So it's very clear on what we focus on. Or for example, we focus on there's tiny bit of uniqueness. It may not be very interesting runway style, but you have to be a little bit unique, like something different from what you have in your closet today. So people can tend to tell us that they want a little bit unique on stitchings or what's unique in material or in
Mhm.
style or in story mission. So for example, we have brand that they made by recycled coffee ground and recycled plastic bottle, and the bottoms made by coconut, and we also even have material that were 100% made by single material, which means it's a lot easier to recycle. Because number one problem for recycling is you have multiple material. It's really hard
Mhm.
for the factory to actually separate the material. So we have a lot of these type of different brand, and so this allow us to get really focused, but also get variety of options for our customers.
So this is like a meta question. I'm very curious on how you learn what you learn. So you have a background. You have like your degrees, two in Chicago, one Northwestern. I think one's UIC from my memory, and then one I think I don't remember the first one, but there was like that's where you got two of your degrees. But outside of that, it sounds like you're just continually learning new things. Are there can you describe what that looks like? Are there like newsletters you're reading? There's just maybe a network of people and you guys like meet often, like every couple of weeks and you share what you've learned. Like, what does that iterative cycle look like?
Yeah, I think I am. People would ask me a lot about this. Of course, I do see stuff just like other people's, and I read stuff, I network, and go to conference and networking event. But personally, one thing I do a lot, which different from other people, is I do share.
Hmm.
So I found it fast, like probably just like the will. We will also. Because we love share, but in the sharing journey, you actually learn a lot more. So I
Hmm.
teach at Northwestern University as an adjunct faculty, for people who are in the education industry, you know that teaching actually doesn't make money, but it really helped you because you have to learn well before you can teach. And then while you
Hmm.
teach, people also ask you questions, which make you think again, and you have guest speakers coming, so then you learn again. So I highly encourage you, if you are interested in learning more, why not start sharing something, sharing what
Hmm.
you learned a little bit this week on LinkedIn, or sharing what you learn from this podcast on your LinkedIn. It's great to build your personal branding, but you will be surprised people respond to you, which will make you learn even more.
Yeah. The for the Northwestern one, how does that work? When you have it on, you're a startup founder, and I think you're out in the Bay Area. Is it like a virtual thing, or do you like come back in during the summer when it's not wintry? in Chicago? Like, what's that look
Yeah,
like?
when I started, I do fly into Chicago, and like for a few times or a year. However, I'm now too busy with a startup founder, so I teach the executive program, which is
Mm,
online. And Northwestern University also have a campus here in San Francisco. So
okay.
sometimes I do go to a campus to teach, and very small, only few hours a year here and there, but it allow me to kind of learn from teaching with students, getting resources school, and also giving back. I once was international student from Taiwan. Really, school helped me to unleash my potential. Was I graduated from 2008 when Lehman Brothers went bankruptcy. Was really a tough journey after I got out of school. So, want to giving back to the community.
Mhm. Yeah, I feel like people should. I agree with you. I think people should make more time for that type of thing. I think that so often people think like me, 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 me. Like there's a person I recently met who I won't name because I don't want to be mean, and I think they're just where they're on their journey, where they were like trying to charge everyone for every little thing that they could. It's like, how many people actually help you? I asked this person, and they're like, well, I don't know, I'm getting like a few people. It's like you're kind of limiting the people that you can help if like all you're doing is just trying to like suck like the value out of every situation you're in. Like sometimes it just feels it's like a good feeling to help other people, and then you have like that, like what you're saying now, where it's like by teaching someone else something in a very given way, like you learned something by doing it. I wish like more
Yeah.
people like even like take like 10% of their week, just like or maybe 10%, like maybe like 2 hours a week or something. They just dedicate that to like helping someone else or some
Yeah,
something
I
else.
think it's I will give a tips and maybe share one story when my startup was we start 2 years ago when we are fundraising for the first time. I posting on University of Chicago alumni group, so we got our classmates and professor became our investor, and so our professor introduced us to another founder. And when I connect with the founder, I was intended to ask him to introduce me his investor, but I forgot. Just in the call, I was genuinely curious about what he's building. So he talked about how he used AI to do digital camera for security. And I connect him with, oh, I was in Facebook before. Here's my security guard when we travel to Africa. And this is my friend back in Chicago who work for police departments. And a few weeks after, he circled back to me. Said, Anya, thank you so much for those amazing leads. By the way, what will you reach out to me about? Is anything I can help you? And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. I was trying to reach out to you for the whole call. Was trying to ask you to introduce your investor to me. So he
Mhm.
connected us with his investor. In half an hour, we raised $1 million. So sometimes you don't know when it's going to happen. So usually what I do is every time I connect with people, I first try to figure out how can I help. But then before I go or when I follow up, I always be very clear what I need help on. So then I try to think about things and people I can refer to other guy. But then I was very specific. Hey, we are always open to high quality menswear brand from all over the world. As a startup founder, connecting with investor of angel investors or people who care about sustainability, people invest in AI are always great connections we have. So if you meet someone like that, please connect to me. So and then when I go to conference or events, I take picture for speakers and I send it to them. And usually it's small thing, but really they really appreciate because they cannot take picture for themselves. And if they ask for the host, sometimes it takes forever to get the pictures from the
Yeah.
organization. So it's always really small help, but then you keep the other person remembered you and also keep the opportunity to be more of the positive relationship.
Do you do like the give people cards or do you just like do like the I learned this at the last conference I was at where there's actually like QR code you can do on like LinkedIn, people scan and find you right away. Like how do you like do that exchange when you're meeting someone for the first time at like a conference?
I do both. Nowadays
Mm,
in Silicon Valley, no one give card, which make my car stand out. So
mm,
I usually do is my car. I will put down I will give it people card, and then on the back of my car is actually how you work for my for Taylor. So I talk about okay, you pay a monthly fee, you get 10 clothes to up to 10 clothes to wear per month. You wear them, you don't have to wash, and then you send back the dirty clothes. You get next shipment. And then also on there, there's a coupon code which they can try right away. And I also open the LinkedIn right away. I scan the person. I ask the person also scan me right away. So then we get connected right away. Sometimes it takes a while to come in. And I have so many people try to connect me because I'm CEO. So a lot of people want to sell us something. So then I ask them to connect right away so I won't forget. I also do a screenshot right away. So then I remember today that who I met. So if
Yeah.
the other person forgot to accept my invite, or I forgot there's bad connection, so the invite doesn't send through, then I have a way to follow up. And when I go home and when I have time, I will look at my calendar. Today I go to this conference and I pull out a screenshot and I see what it is. If it's on WhatsApp, the LinkedIn, it's a bit take a while to get the invitation come through. If it's on WhatsApp or online or on WeChat, I will right away also take a picture with the other person. I send the picture right away so that we remember each other. And I also put on my the electronics business card and I save it to the albums right away. So then the
Yeah.
other person has my cards there.
Wow. Oh, that's awesome. I'm gonna steal. I have like a bunch of conferences I'm going up to in December, and I'm looking for more of them in Chicago to go to because I'm like new to the area. So I'll use this technique. It sounds really good.
Yeah, you should
I
also use a service so you don't need to bring dirty clothes home.
yes, that is true. The you seem like someone who's like really big on focus. Like you like in a very like positive, intense way. What do you guys focus on now? Like, what is Taelor like for like 2024 is coming up to the end? Like, what do you guys focus on when the last? Because like sometimes people are like, I found this really weird. Like some people like kind of take a vacation at the end of the year, and I've never noticed this until I started building my own things. Then you try to get things done at the end of the year, and like some people are like, nah, talk to me in January, and then everyone wants to work again. But so what's like your focus for like the end of 2024, and then maybe like part two is as like what 2025? What would you like to achieve?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. It's important to think about timing, right? For
Yep.
example, in our business, holiday is a big season because a lot of people want to give a unique gift. People will think about, hey, chocolate is not cool and people have too many clutter at home. And when you send some physical gifts, sometimes people end up feel bad to not to return, but then it's also like at home it may not be the best fit for what they need at their house, right? So gift card, like sustainable gift card, a unique experience. You give someone time because the stylist save them time, and then picking clothes without shopping save them
Mm,
time, and it's a unique gift. So holiday is a big season for us. We
yeah.
definitely also helping corporates and to give people some gift to help people are inclusive. So think of a lot of company that junior people may not have nice clothes because they don't have much money, while the executive were a lot more money to spend. Or in some companies, the older people they sometimes want to look younger, younger people want to look older. So dressing up and helping them say some like feel confident and ready for their work is really helpful for reducing imposter syndrome. I started a company because I was head of product at eBay, and I was the only woman minorities as head of product at the time. So I want to look great. I tried some subscription boxes like Stitch Fix, but you have to buy from every shipment, and I didn't want to
Yeah.
own that much stuff. So I tried some rental company like Rent the Runway or Newly, which is owned by Urban Outfitter. They are great. You can rent, but you have to pick from 10,000 garment. And there was a moment I realized there's no service really dedicated to help people who remove imposter syndrome and get ready for the day, and also for people who are not into fashion. And that's how we started. So I hope for holiday it's all about how can I help more people to send this unique gift to help people save time. So this will be what we focus on in 2025. Will be again we look at what's the timing for your business. In our business is about Valentine's Day, so a lot of single guy they want to look great, they want to make over, and we found that of course dating people still very into what your looks like at the beginning, right? So getting the subscription, having a professional stylist to help style you and really helpful. We partner with Coffee Meets Bagel and 6 different matchmaking companies. So definitely for us will be focused on the Valentine's Day for 2025. But in general, our AI is expanding globally through technology licensing. So that will be the area after we Valentine's Day we focus on.
Sweet. And this kind of, I think, touches on one of the listener questions we had. And I apologize for not writing down your name. I'm usually better about this, but if you just tag yourself in the comments, I'll thank you. So, since Taelor is about confidence through style, how do you craft messaging and brand experiences to build that confidence before someone even rents an outfit? I think that's a great question.
Yeah, I think so before renting an outfit, I think it's important to think about what you are good at. Everyone are good at something. Everyone are bad at something. When I graduated from Northwestern University with master's degree in marketing, it was 2008. Lehman Brothers went bankruptcy. There was no job anywhere. So I was just moved from Taiwan to the US. I barely spoke English. One day someone asked me, "Are you seeing someone?" I turn around and I look at behind. I don't see anyone here. I didn't understand why are you seeing someone. Me, I don't see anyone here. Are you seeing a ghost? No, it's not Halloween, right? So, I people, I practice English and by volunteering at the senior care center near campus, and I wait outside the building of other school department, and because I wasn't able to get any of their job career and job interview, so I wait outside, and as soon as the recruiter came out, I give him my resume. You might think this is crazy, and it did. It was crazy and it was useless. However, I was a reporter back in Taiwan, so the only thing I know was how to stop people when they walk out the building. That's how a reporter did. So the thing is that it's not about that technique. It's about think about what you are good at, because the secret sauce to succeed is not giving up, which we all know. However, how would you not giving up? You are not giving up if you always think, hey, there's one more thing I can try. Then you won't give up, right? And then one more thing you can try, if it's something that you are good at, then you won't feel painful. You won't feel hard because you are good at. I was a reporter. I was good at waiting outside. So then it wasn't working. So I went to New York and I found 2,000 alumni from school directory, which again, I was good at that because I was a reporter. So I found 2,000 of them. I cold calling each of them. And then I was in New York. I was on the street. I saw the newsstand. So I saw, a lot of newspaper. And they say, if you want advertise, call this number. And this is a publisher name. And at that time, I was very interested in working for a media company since I was a reporter. So then I bought all the newspaper. I start cold calling each of the publisher. And again, people think this is crazy, but that's the only thing I know what to do because I was a reporter before, right? So I cold called each of them. I eventually met with CNN CEOs of CNN and VP of NBC and New York Times, met all of those executives. But I realized it was too slow. People say, you should go to conference. Conference, there are more people there. But again, conference tickets are so expensive. And I don't know how to get on conference for free. Oh, wait, I know. So I called a magazine back in Taiwan. I said, hey, there's an amazing conference in New York. Would you like me to cover the story about the conference? And they say, okay, sounds great. You can cover the story for the conference. Then I call the conference again and I say, hey, I am a reporter from Taiwan and I have this, I get a press ticket. I did. So again, I don't know how to get a conference, but I know how to be a reporter. So my point is that you just need to think about what you are good at and then using the way that you are good at to keep going and to learn during the journey. And eventually you will find what's the right solution.
Yeah, that's awesome. Are there, recently, so there's basically like what books do you recommend type of question, but I'm curious, what have you recommended recently to people to read? And it could be entrepreneurship related, or it could be like fiction, like any good books. Anything that you recommended to people recently?
Yeah, I won't say recently, but I do I do like the book Get to Aha, since you asked a lot of question about product and positionings. I think it was pretty. It's an old book. It's done by Andy Collingham. She was the positioning person for Steve Jobs. When Apple just started, and she talked about how to position a product. So she separate product to be three different types. There's a customer-centric company like Apple. There's a product-centric company like Facebook. There's like more innovation type of company like Tesla. So separate the DNA of the company. And then she also talked about a simple way to think about positioning. Like positioning is help people to remember you, right? So for example, Disney is a happy place on earth. Amazon is the most customer-centric company. So think about what's the one thing that people remembered you and people can share you to other people. And then using the positioning, think about which DNA is a company, that you can build a positioning for the company. And I found the book is pretty helpful.
Awesome. Yeah. Is there anything that you're looking to learn, or yeah, anything you're on the lookout to learn?
Yeah, I think for us, we definitely, it's just beginning of AI, right? So there's 20 years ahead of us, and now it's Gen AI just started. So while I'm teaching on a lot of conference about AI, I'm also learning a lot about AI. So definitely continue learning about the AI space. And from what I learned so far, it's all about data. Used to be about algorithm, right? Google's like algorithm is about the ranking algorithm, but now with a large language model like OpenAI, it's more unique. It's about that you have unique data that you have, the professional knowledge you have, your secret data of your customer or your how operations. So getting those data is really important. Also trying to figure out where the world is going with combination of AI tied to software and hardware. For example, Amazon using AI to turn on the light in their truck, but turned out that it wasn't successful because when AI recognize a person, tend to be during the daytime, and so then they turn on the light during the daytime, which is useless. And when they couldn't recognize people, which is nighttime, then that's the time that they need a light. So I also curious about the AI intersections with hardware, with real physical product like our clothes, or intersection with software and with crypto and blockchain. I think that's a very interesting area to watch.
Great. And then one question I had from earlier is you mentioned you were, I think, ranked pretty highly at GQ and like a bunch of different magazines. I like your background changes. They're really adorable. But anyways, for people listening, you won't know what I'm talking about. But do they search and then find you, or is it something like you like apply for? Like I've never been ranked GQ 10 for like a company, so I'm curious, like, how does that process work? Like to yeah.
Yeah, it's actually very when we started it was I went to a TechCrunch conference, and in that conference that we were just interviewing a lot of potential customer, and ask them how would they think that about these ideas. And what we have and during in the conference we found that there were a reporter. So I was very excited to share about our idea with the reporters, and we follow up, and the reporter say I'm not interested in the idea. A month after, the reporter circle back and say, hey, by the way, I'm not interested in idea, but my colleague is writing something about this. So we were again excited to share about idea, and thought the news will come out, which never came out at that time. So we went on, life goes on, we went on startup competitions. So we get on the West Coast Championship. And before that, we were able to get on global championship competition in Chicago. So I reached out to School Magazine, say, hey, I'm Northwestern faculty and alumni, but I'm also a University of Chicago alumni. So I'm competing at University of Chicago alumni, which we might win. Then what means Northwestern faculty now will win the University of Chicago championship, which seems like a little bit story for at least School Magazine. So the school published it. Then we take the school news, we go on ABC News. I say, hey, see, this is two schools of rival. It will be a little bit interesting for Chicago people because they are alumni, right? It's school, two rivalry school. So then ABC News published it. So I
Better?
take the ABC News, I go to WWD, which is the industry, fashion industries, I trade publications. So and we share that to the person and and then we got the news come out, and then we share back to the person who I met, the colleague of the person I met at TechCrunch, and turn out that the news come out. So from the news come out, we got our first customer, like Supplier, which is a Canadian brand, and got out. I think my point is that if you ask me which point was the most important part, a lot of people think that it's almost like you are a chicken inside an egg. You hit 40 times until the egg break. But is it really matter? It's only the 40th time? That's not true, right? It's could be 23 times, 24 times. It could be, you don't know, right? It's just a lot of things adding together. It's almost like most people want to be through far away, like the stone cross the river. But the reality is most of us are more like a stone inside the river. You flee one side at a time, and eventually you'll realize you are already on the other side of the river.
Mm-hmm. That's fascinating. I think one of the themes I'm seeing here in our conversation is like this ability, like you said earlier, to take what you were good at and constantly keep like finding like a fun angle to make it leverage itself up, where like everyone was like happy to work with you. Like the school newspaper was like, great, I have like this great thing I can write, and now it's being used for this other, CNN piece. So like everyone's like really happy with that system. So I'm seeing that as a thing that I'm hoping that people listening are seeing as well. So you spent a lot of time in Chicago. I am like background change. What is there like a place to eat that you'd recommend? This is more like a fun question.
Oh, wow. I think so. For people in Chicago, they probably don't get as much of dim sum as we have here in the Bay Area. So I do eat in Mingshan, which is a dim sum chain store. You get it in Michigan Revenue and some other places, and highly recommended for the steam stuff. Like the fried stuff, you probably can get in other places, but I think the steam stuff will be interesting. And then if you haven't tried it, definitely try the chicken fingers. It's the best of the Hong Kongese food, so definitely try the chicken fingers. Yeah, I know it's weird, but it won't disappoint you.
Like literal chicken fingers? Like,
Yeah,
so there's chicken fingers where it's just like a strip of chicken that's been deep fried. Are you talking like the little like chicken claw?
yeah, chicken claw.
That's exciting. I'll try. I grew up on a farm. I had chickens. I've never had chicken fingers, so I'll try that out. I'll be in Chicago next week, so I'll try that out.
It's actually really good.
Yeah. Then I think the last question I have, and this is probably like a professional. Like people are always listening, and you never know how people can help you. You already mentioned AI generation, so it's like generative AI. So if anyone in the audience already knows someone who's like that, like either ping me or ping Anya, and like let us know about those people. But is there another thing that your company or yourself, like a problem you're having that you'd love the audience just like to have it on their head as they're leaving this call, and maybe they can think on it, and like it's always kind of fun. Like if you ask for something, it's like the end of like a TED talk. Some of them ask for people to do stuff, and like good stuff happens. So I always like my last question to be, what do you need help with, and how can we help you as like the audience listening, as a thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you so much for asking. We always love to get more different brands on the platform. So if you have your favorite brands or know anyone who are in the menswear space and have amazing product, please let us know. We'd love to have on board more brands on the platform. If you do know someone who are interested in getting involved in the community through investments, like angel investments or venture capitals who will support AI, support sustainability. It's always great to connect and so as part of our ecosystems. If you also internationally have no brands, have brands on international brands who are looking at AI, in like jumpstart for your company, want to licensing our technology, do definitely reach out as well. You can find me on Anya at Taelor.ai. That's ANYA at TAELOR.ai. And also, last but not least, that holidays around the corner. So, what's the best gift to give some time and sustainability to support the environment? So, we now offer 10% off gift card. So, if you are you are giving the gift to a holiday gift, you can use a code Lowell Gift 10 LOWELLGIFT 10 Lowell Gift 10 on Taelor.style. TAELOR.STYLE. Lowell Gift 10 10% off on Taelor.style.
Great. Well, thank you, Anya, for being on the show. And I hope everyone got something from this. I know I got tons from it. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Sounds great. Thank you. I'm Anya Cheng from Taelor. Thank you.